Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome again to the latest ADM Agriculture YouTube market update. Well, the last week was incredibly volatile again, and really, to use a football analogy, a week of two halves certainly in terms of market movement. Heat waves through Europe and the US plains, plus several significant international tenders helped support prices last week. Gas, Jordan, Pakistan, all in the market with significant volumes getting traded and a big chunk of it coming out of Europe. However, all of that turned around at the end of the week. The signing of the agreement between Russia and Ukraine, overseen by the US Secretary General, which was supposed to facilitate the free movement of grain and fertilizer, helped change the market sentiment at the end of the week. The deal talked about 5 million tons a month being shipped from the Ukraine and was designed really to give the shipping insurance companies the confidence to allow vessels to move freely again in the region. I guess if this is actually able to happen, it would significantly change the global S&D. So this news, combined with the expectation of an ongoing high dollar, supported by the Fed, encouraged further selling on Friday. And actually what we saw was Chicago wheat actually finished lower. Having been up all week, it gave away all of its gains earlier in the week on Friday. And it was the same picture in the London and Matif futures markets, which had been up all week and actually closed with small losses. So all of the hope came from that document on Friday, and actually all of the hope and probably bearish sentiment from that Ukraine export agreement is now in question after rocket attacks on Odessa, one of the Ukraine's biggest ports, came about on Saturday morning. Here we are. The agreement has been signed, and less than 24 hours later, the port of Odessa is attacked. So does this now mean that the Black Sea region becomes a no-go again, and the volume of exports that's been talked about becomes a distant pipe dream? All very, very volatile and very tough to call, but it's creating a huge amount of volatility. Here in the UK, though, a bit closer to home, wheat harvest is now well underway. I would guess by the end of last week, nationally, we're probably circa 5% of the wheat crop being harvested. And there's been some wild swings in yields. I mean, anecdotally, we would say to date that probably they're about average, 8 to 8.5 tonne to the hectare. And this is going to give us a crop of between 15 and 15.5 million tonnes, depending how these later crops come in. Still an exportable surplus of between 1.7, 2 million tonnes, just depending on how things finish. There is still a long way to go, but crop quality so far seems pretty good. Specific weights are very high, and screenings are remarkably low, which, given the very hot weather, might have seen more pinch grains, but no, screenings seem pretty low. And mycotoxin levels, unsurprisingly, I guess, are pretty low as well on what we've seen so far. Hagbergs are okay. But what we have noticed is that proteins are just a little bit on the low side. So that's just something to watch, maybe 0.5% lower than they were last year. So we'll just have to see. I guess one final comment on UK export competitiveness. We've said we've still got a surplus to ship. In short, we're still expensive. The sea freight market has come down a little, which has helped, but we're still, both on feed and hard wheats and soft wheats for export, still between £5 and £10 a tonne, too expensive. So work to do. It's going to be interesting to see as combines get going again after the weekend showers, what comes next, whether we can work our way into export competitiveness, or whether indeed we just continue to bumble around looking for odd cargoes here and there, and we end up building stocks. All to play for, early doors in terms of UK harvest, but still a lot to learn. As always, we're very grateful for you tuning in and listening to our market update. If you have any comments, the contact details are at the end of this video. Please feel free to reach out. Thanks again. Bye-bye.